Good morning. I'm Steve. I'm the middle one. You already met Brother Joe, my younger sister Gina. All three of us were born here in St. Louis, not on the Hill, but here in St. Louis, but really grew up in New York. But even growing up in New York, the Hill was always an important part of my life because I have vivid memories of us sitting around the family room and Daddy holding court. And invariably, one of the three of us would say, "Tell some more little boy stories." And oh man, those little boy stories, they were way better than watching television. So he would delight us with his adventures with his friends Yogi and Poochie and Tata. And I just remember being so jealous because these guys had such great names. They were so cool. I mean, I was Steve. That's a good name, don't get me wrong. But these guys were cool. And the adventures they went on, we would never be allowed to do anything that they did. But man, was he a great storyteller. But you already know that he had a great sense of humor and he was a great storyteller. But I have a perspective in addition to yours because he was also my dad. I remember going to the ballpark with him and we'd ride up the elevator to the press box level. And he'd find a spot, a box that was, pretty empty and get me settled in there. And then he'd go down to the booth and there I'd be, and like the next booth or two booths over, he'd be calling the game on the radio. And they had this deal where you could get these big cups of Coke for free. All you had to do was ask and they would give it to you. This was my first experience with free stuff for the media. It was awesome. So I would drain like 5 or 6 of these big cups of Coke because I wanted those plastic cups. And I would take the cups and I would stack them on top of each other and I'd make a stand there so I could call play-by-play just like my dad. And that was cool. And there's a life lesson in that. If you drain 6 large cups of Coke, you're going to go to the bathroom like every inning. Who knew sports play-by-play guys face these challenges? But that's a life lesson you learn. But he also taught us some much more important life lessons. And he didn't like talking about this stuff. I think it made him uncomfortable. So we learned by example. We learned by watching the way he lived his life. And for me, I break it down into 3 principles that I think guided him through his life. Number 1 was take care of your family. And whether he was home or he was on the road, no matter where he was, what he was doing, to his very last day, that was his number 1 priority. We knew we were always number 1 in his heart, and we knew that every single day. Number 2 was look around and reach out. See the people who are in need and reach out a hand and give them a boost up. Some of you know about the many hours and hours he put into BAT, the baseball assistance team, to help ball players who were otherwise forgotten. You know about his campaign against spit tobacco, that he would get so emotional because he saw so many lives ruined by that stuff. You've heard about his relationship with the sisters and with the mission. And those are just 3 on a very long list. And number 3 was always give back more than you take. And I must admit, on this one, in one area, I failed pretty often. But, so here's the deal. I have a soft spot in my heart for sports collectibles. I have a man cave at home with baseballs and bats and shoes and jerseys and photographs and autographs and baseball cards. It's awesome. But every single time we would go out to Arizona to visit him, he'd pull out some great sports piece of memorabilia and he'd say, "Oh, look at this, look how cool this is. You want this? Oh, look at this over here. You ever seen anything like this? Do you need this for your collection? Oh, check these out over here. I'll send you some of these." Okay, I took more than I gave back. But he practically forced me, right? That's not my fault. You can see that. Because that's the way he was. With me, with us, with the sisters, with everybody. That's what he was. So, Daddy, I can speak for me, I speak for Joe, I speak for Gina. I speak for your 8 grandchildren. I speak for your 1 beautiful 7-month-old great-grandchild when I say we love you, we miss you, and we promise we will keep working very hard to live those life lessons that you taught us so well.